Good evening, everyone. You're watching Now 24 Nightly News with me, Miriam Zian. To the details of our news right now. First, Algerians voted on Saturday, September 7 in the country's snap presidential election to choose among three candidates vying for the position of President of the Republic. More than 24 million Algerians were invited to cast their ballot in this presidential election, considered decisive in consolidating the democratic process in the country. Independent candidate Abdelmajid Tebboune, the president of the Movement of Society for Peace, Hassani, and the first secretary of the Socialist Forces Front, Aouchiche, are competing after a campaign that lasted 20 days to lead the country over the next 5 years. On Saturday, Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune cast his vote for the presidential elections at Ahmed Ara School in Bouchaoui, located west of the capital. Following his vote, President Tebboune described the presidential election as a crucial juncture for both the state and the Algerian people, emphasizing that Algeria is currently at a critical crossroads.
مفصلية لأن أتمنى أن من سيفوز بهذه الانتخابات سيواصل المشوار مصيري بالنسبة للدولة الجزائرية وبالنسبة للشعب الجزائري حتى نوصل نقطة لا رجوع في التنمية الاقتصادية وفي بناء ديمقراطية حقة، مش ديمقراطية الشعارات ولكن ديمقراطية الحقوق للمواطن. وانتم تشاهدوا، العالم يشهد أن الجزائري يوميا يوم بعد يوم يزيد يكتسب حقوق أخرى إن شاء الله حتى نلبي له كل طلباته وكل رغباته. أتمنى كل الخير للوطن العزيز تاعنا، وأتمنى كذلك الجزائر أن تكون دائما في كل الظروف منتصرة إن شاء الله.
Algerian President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune described the conduct of the electoral campaign as clean, praising the performance of all the candidates for the September 7th election.
الداخل والخارج راه يتابع في الجزائر، مش من اليوم فقط. داخل والخارج شافوا أن الحملة الانتخابية كانت حملة نظيفة جدا. الفرسان الثلاثة كانوا في المستوى وأعطوا صورة مشرفة جدا للجزائر وللديمقراطية في الجزائر، وأتمنى إن شاء الله أن تكون قدوة الناس آخرين بحول الله. رسالة للخارج، اللي قلت لك رسالة للخارج، الجزائر جزء لا يتجزأ من العالم العربي والإفريقي والمتوسطي، وراهم كل يتابعوا، وإن شاء الله الأمور تفوت بسلاسة وتفوت بكل ديمقراطية.
Aouchiche, the candidate from the Socialist Forces Front, FFS, in the Algerian presidential election, cast his vote at the Shahid Mizian Mohammed Said Primary School polling station in the IC Youssef municipality, Tizi Ouzou province, east of the capital.
وأنا أؤدي واجبي الانتخابي.
As I fulfill my voting duty among my family and my people, I felt a mix of humility and pride. Pride in belonging to this great people and nation, and humility before the weight of responsibility and the challenge we have undertaken together. Today, we begin to build our future by voting for our presidential project and abandoning the culture of boycott and despair to build our future.
واليأس لصناعة مستقبلنا بأنفسنا.
Aouchiche also confirmed that his electoral program carries an ambitious project to establish what he calls the desired change.
كما التزمت أمامكم خلال الحملة الانتخابية.
As I committed to you during the election campaign, I reaffirm today that we carry an ambitious project to establish change and create a governance system centered around popular sovereignty and national interest above all else. Today, the silent majority can become an effective majority if mobilized, engaged, and involved in shaping its present and future.
وشاركت في صنع حاضرها ومستقبلها.
The presidential candidate from the Movement of Society for Peace, Abdelali Hassani Sharif, fulfilled his voting duty today at the Krush Slimane Primary School in Bermondrais, Algiers. In a statement, Hassani Sharif highlighted that the 2024 presidential election represents a pivotal and decisive moment in Algeria's history.
خضنا حملة انتخابية.
We conducted a distinctive election campaign, presenting a political program that addresses the issues of the nation and the people, and explores Algeria's rising prospects. We named it Opportunity for Algeria and its people to transition to a better life through collective and unified efforts. Our campaign was ethical. We offered a political program and viewpoints and provided thematic alternatives for all our problems and issues. We analyzed the political situation in Algeria with all its negative and positive aspects and aimed to offer solutions for all the problems we have faced over the past 62 years through 62 electoral pledges, 62 political commitments and 62 opportunities for the Algerian people.
من خلال 62 فرصة إلى الشعب الجزائري.
Presidential candidate Abdelali Hassani Sharif defended his electoral platform, emphasizing that his campaign was unique and that his program provides an opportunity which targeted solutions for various problems and issues.
وصلنا اليوم إلى يوم الاقتراع.
Today, we have reached the day of the election of this important presidential election in the country. We have undertaken this journey with full dedication and responsibility towards our nation and its people, upholding political values, pluralism, freedom, and the rotation of power. It is certain that we are today facing an important and decisive presidential election in the history of the country. That is why I would like to express my sincere thanks to the Algerian people, especially those who supported us, welcomed us and embraced us, and all those who believed that Algeria will always be democratic and social within the framework of Islamic principles as stated in the November 1st Declaration.
في إطار المبادئ الإسلامية كما نص على ذلك بيان أول نوفمبر.
We have just received this breaking news from Ani. So the president of the Independent National Electoral Authority in Algeria, Mohamed Shorfi, has revealed the preliminary voter turnout for the presidential election, or the snap presidential election. In Algeria, it is as of 48.3%, and abroad it's as of 19.57%. And in Algiers, the pace of voter turnout at polling stations saw a significant increase in the afternoon. Polling stations in the municipality of Houssindé, in the heart of Algiers, witnessed a large influx of voters. The process includes more than 1,900,000 registered voters in the Algiers region, making it the largest electoral pool in the country.
اليوم الجزائر راهي تواجه تحديات
Today,
كبيرة.
Algeria is facing significant challenges in its surrounding environment and neighborhood. As citizens, we support this electoral and democratic process. The people must vote and choose the candidate they desire. This is in the best interest of our country, our democracy, and the Algerian people. Praise be to God. May He guide us, protect our country, and grant wisdom to our leaders, God willing.
ويصلح ولاة أمورنا إن شاء الله.
I, along with my children and family, voted.
We cast our votes with strength. We are free, and no one forces us to come and choose the president, because Algeria is free and democratic. For me, anyone who does not vote in the country is not truly Algerian. As an Algerian, I vote and I cast my ballot. I'm free to choose the one I believe will serve the country best.
I came today to cast my vote for the one who deserves it, so that Algeria can continue its journey, support the youth, and ensure they live well and have a peaceful, prosperous life. We want stability in the country, for our children and all the future generations. Algeria will stand tall before the entire world.
In Tizi Ouzou province located eastern Algeria, polling stations have recorded an increase in turnout of voters, fulfilling their electoral duty to choose who they believe is worthy of ruling Algeria for the next 5 years.
Tout est bien organisé, tout s'est bien passé.
The vote was well organized, everything went smoothly so far. Participation has been average, but we hope that the turnout in the afternoon will be much larger. We have raised awareness among people, and we were encouraged to go vote to truly bring about change and another vision for this country, God willing.
Une autre vision dans ce pays, Inch'Allah.
Ça va pour l'instant, رانا نمروا dans une période ça va.
It's going well for now. We try to mobilize the citizens as much as possible to vote. We have prepared the centers. We have made a good preparation concerning the voting centers. At the same time, we have taken care of the transportation, especially for the elderly people. We have taken care of transportation, especially for the villages that are a bit from the voting centers. And as I said, especially for the elderly people, as it is a bit hot, we will take care of the people who will come to vote.
On va prendre en charge les gens qui vont venir voter.
In Adrar province, southwest Algeria, voters have been arriving at polling stations early this morning to cast their ballots in the presidential election. The local ANI coordinator supervised the start of the process at the Ali ibn Abi Talib Middle School polling center in downtown Adrar.
بصفتنا كمندوبية ولائية لولاية أدرار.
As the ANI delegation in Adrar, we would like to inform you that as of today, at 8 a.m., the official start of the elections and the electoral process at the Ali ibn Abi Talib school took place under good conditions. In the Adrar province, there are 535 voting centers, including 4 mobile ones. The total number of registered voters is 136,106, and the number of poll workers is approximately 4,667. The number of mobile voters reached 1,678 as of yesterday. Overall, the preparations for this day have proceeded under good conditions.
الإعداد لهذا اليوم تم الإعداد في ظروف حسنة.
In Al-Bayt province, located southwestern Algeria, there has been a strong voter turnout at polling stations since the early hours of election day for the presidential elections. Voters have arrived in large numbers since noon to cast their ballots and contribute to the success of the electoral process, despite a noticeable rise in temperatures during this period.
At 8 in the morning, the voting centers opened in this context to improve the representation of the states under the National Authority for Independence in Al-Bayt, with 193,439 voters distributed across 118 centers and 508 polling stations. The process involves 4,466 officials ensuring all material and human conditions are provided for this electoral event.
قمت اليوم بإدلاء الصوت تاعي.
Today I cast my vote, and I urge all citizens to participate in the presidential elections and cast their votes. I voted for Algeria, and this is our country. We must serve it and build it. It is our duty to vote and choose president. God willing, hopefully, this will bring good. May God give us a president who will help our country prosper. May God protect our country and grant us a president who will work for the benefit of the nation.
In Tinzaouatine, in the far south province of Ain Ghazam, voters flocked in large numbers since the early hours of Saturday morning to the four polling stations in the region. The municipal delegation of Tinzaouatine has recorded a significant turnout, with some voters being cast through mobile polling stations.
تفضل.
Today, we are at the furthest point of Algeria, in Tinzaouatine, fulfilling our duty by electing the President of Algeria. Thankfully, the process is going smoothly. I'd like to express my gratitude to the organizers, especially the Independent National Electoral Authority, for ensuring favorable conditions.
In the eastern state or eastern province of Constantine, a large turnout was observed as citizens headed to polling stations early in the morning. Voters from different categories, including the elderly, youth, and people with disabilities, gathered at the Swidani Boujama'a Center in the municipality of Zouari in Constantine amid a well-organized voting process.
I came today to do my electoral duty, to show Algeria that we are always present, especially in critical moments. My family and I are here to fulfill our responsibility, which is to vote. Voting is a duty for every Algerian citizen.
Voting operation for the Algerian presidential election concluded on Saturday at most of the polling stations designated for the Algerian community abroad after 5 consecutive days. Most of the 117 centers distributed across the world's capitals and cities closed their doors after the last day of voting, which witnessed a record and significant turnout, as well as the determination of members of the Algerian community to participate in the presidential election and consolidate the constitutional process. The Algerian consulate's voting center in Bobigny in Paris saw a substantial turnout, actually mirroring the high participation levels across France in the presidential election. From the early hours of the morning, a steady stream of Algerian voters made their way to the Bobigny Center, eager to cast their ballots. The enthusiasm demonstrated by the community underscored their pride in fulfilling their electoral responsibilities and their commitment to the democratic process.
مرحبا ابوطي تحية الجزائر.
And now for more updates on the U.S., we are joined live by our special envoy, Karim Fess. So, Karim, what's the latest you have observed during the last day of voting? Karim, you still with me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mariam. Thank you, and thank you, dear audiences, for tuning into our channel. Here's the latest. We're on the final day of the 2024 Algerian presidential elections. And over the last 6 days, we've been following the process across 15 voting stations across the U.S., traveling from New Jersey to New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. And now, here we are back in New York City, right in the heart of Manhattan, of course, polling station number 1. Today, being a weekend, we've seen a noticeable boost in turnout compared to earlier days and compared even to previous years. Well, the Algerian, or when the Algerian people have been able to come and, of course, take part in this election that has been running in a smooth conditions, thanks to the authorities, the relevant authorities here in the United States, whether the General Consulate of New York in Manhattan and also the embassy in Washington, D.C. The participation rate has varied between 6% and 10% across various polling stations. And of course, this morning, the participation rate reached 5%. And they're hoping, of course, this rate to climb as more and more people will come in to vote. Joining me now is Dr. Hadi Sharshar, who is the deputy of the Algerian Independent Elections Authority in the USA. So, Dr. Hadi Sharshar, we have reached the final day and we've seen the turnout growing as expected. What are your thoughts regarding the participation and what is the current rate?
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Independent National Election Authority, would like to share with you the latest updates on the final day of the elections. We have observed a significant increase in voter turnout among the Algerian community across various parts of the United States of America, particularly at the New York site, Houston, Texas, and Chicago voting centers, where participation has been excellent. In contrast, participation in the other 12 offices, including New Jersey, Philadelphia, Ohio, Colorado, Detroit, Michigan, have been acceptable so far. So as we approach the midday here in New York City of the election day, we anticipate an overall turnout of about 14%. And again, I say 14% at the end of the day. So far, participation stands at about 10%. And we thank all the voters, observers, and polling station staffs for their commitment to the rules and regulations of the Independent National Authority. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hadi Sharshar. So as you followed, Mariam, the turnout is indeed interesting as we reach the final hours of the day. Of course, there is another factor that actually impacted the turnout rate as the polling stations actually provided this option of proxy voting, and many and more, let's say, Algerian community have been able to take part of this election. Of course, we will stay here and monitor hour by hour and minute by minute the latest developments as they happen and unfold. And of course, we will provide you with the latest statistics, rates and details just when we got them as the polling station closes and we have the final count. Thank you, Mariam. And thank you, dear audiences. Back to you, Mariam, in studio.
Thank you very much, Karim. And dear audiences, this is it for tonight's news, but do stay tuned for Algeria Votes, which is coming up next.